Hey, welcome back everyone. So in today's video, I'm going to give you some tips on creating digital products. And I'm actually working on a new one here, which is another how to draw book, which I'll make for digital download and then hopefully print on demand through Amazon. I'm still kind of researching that. But I figured I could give you some of the tips that have served me well along the way. And I'm not trying to sell you some course on how to do this stuff. I was actually kind of motivated to do this because a lot of the videos I see on YouTube just seem like a bit of fluff and things that they're just trying to basically get you to buy something else. I mean, I'm not going to fault you if you buy any of my digital products. I always appreciate the support, but this is mainly just to share with my audience, again, what has helped me along the way. So I'm currently creating a new book inside of Clip Studio, which, if you watch the channel, we all love this software. It's great for creating PDFs, comics, things like that. So I'm going to work on this a little bit and talk about, kind of my process. But first off is free items can help you grow an audience and learn what works. So I think that if you don't know what might work for what you're looking to get into, and especially if you don't know how to market yourself very well, obviously creating, YouTube videos, blog posts, things like that, being active on social media, all those things can help. But one of the things that's helped me is if I didn't know if something was going to work, I would just create a free item of it using something like Gumroad. You can use whatever software you want or platform. I think Gumroad's a good option for a lot of people to get started. And the free item can let you know if there's any interest surrounding that product. A nice thing about free items as well, if you don't know how to market yourself, sometimes people will pick up that free item and they'll use it in their own blog post. So it's sort of organically grows your audience. And again, it gives you some awareness. It also gives you some analytic data to pay attention to see if, what's working and maybe figure out hopefully why. It's not always as clear cut to know why something takes off, but it can give you some very valuable data. All the while, people might sign up to your newsletter or follow your work through, again, platforms like Gumroad make it pretty easy to build that. So that's kind of nice. And it also allows you to accept tips, so you can say the price is $0, but then you might get tipped. In fact, some of my free items have done pretty well. But again, I wouldn't have known that off the start. It's just, over time you sort of get a lay of the land and get a bit of information to go off of. And then you start to realize what works. Now, I generally don't compromise what I'm after. So my goal is to draw comic art and to teach it and share that information. And so I'll make that the main topic, but then I can make different products surrounding that concept. And again, free items can be a great way to get started and just see what works and then go from there. So yeah, just give that a try if you don't know how to market yourself or you're a bit unsure of what your audience might really be looking for. So another thing is, or number 2, quality is king, but perfection can be an excuse to procrastinate. So this has been a big one for me because I can tend to procrastinate. I can tend to worry about, is it good enough? Is this what people are even looking for? Am I wasting time here? Valuable, precious time, right? Well, the problem is that if you get too caught up in quality, you can just kind of freeze. And that can be a real problem when you're trying to make progress with any business, and content creation and digital products is no different. But if you at least try to do your best, but then keep some sort of schedule, give yourself a deadline for the products you're trying to create, and make sure that, if you are doing your best, to not really compare a whole lot. I mean, you do want to be aware of what's out there, but you don't want to overly compare and then freeze in that process and be stuck in a continuation of trying to make this perfect product. Again, it's more of a long-term strategy of making things and then seeing what works, what doesn't. You're going to improve along the way. So it's better that you just make stuff and stay creative versus, again, going for that absolute perfection. I don't want that to be confused with, just throwing out junk, because then you're going to get junk results, and it's going to kind of reconfirm any doubts you had about succeeding by just going, oh yeah, see, it's not working, nobody wanted it, I guess I'm not good at it, and then it's self-defeating. So don't fall into that. I would rather see you make things and then learn along the way. That's really a better and more productive way to go about this process. Not everything is going to succeed, unfortunately, but you got to keep moving forward. Which kind of brings me to my next one, number 3, learn, implement, and experiment. So this is a thing where you don't want to get caught too heavily, or you don't want to get caught up in any one aspect of this, but rather utilize them each together, and again, stay moving forward. So you definitely want to always learn, but don't get caught up in a perpetual state of trying to learn, because it can make you feel like you're progressing, but then you're waiting to really pull the trigger. You're waiting to actually produce something and move forward. So you're going to also experiment along the way. You're going to make things, and then you're going to learn from it, and then shift, maybe your production plan or the way you're doing a specific thing. Also, experimenting is important, because you may be onto a relatively good idea, but then you might just need to tweak a couple things to make it work. So experimentation is really good. Again, I feel like it's a combination of these things, not any one of them. Again, being stuck at a state of always learning but not doing can be harmful to any business. You just have to remember that it's not always going to be the one thing that solves everything. It's going to be building upon a few things that teach you along the way. So again, try to balance this out with, learning as a part of it, implementing, a very big part of it, and experimenting, so you can tweak an idea that's maybe almost there but just needs a couple little shifts. Sometimes you don't need a big shift. Sometimes it's something small, or you might see it as a relatively small change, and it makes a world of difference. So use those together proportionately, and I guess that's going to vary based upon the product and the individual needs. All right, number 4, one that I particularly really like about digital products, I think that's what's led me to do so many of them and to stick with it, is digital products are dynamic, so add value to increase sales or ditch it. So what's neat about a digital product versus a physical product is you can keep adding to it and make it more and more valuable to a potential consumer, and therefore maybe even bridge gaps of reasons why it might not be moving or selling or whatever. By adding more and more value to it, you can increase the value proposition to the consumer, and therefore help it to start selling. So there's certain items where I made that weren't doing as well, and then as I increased value to it, they started to pick up. And the reason why I said or ditch it is because some of them, just no matter how much you add to it, they're not really what the consumer might be looking for. Even though you think it's the best thing since sliced bread, it might not just fulfill the needs that are out there, the search results that, or the search volume that people are actually looking for it. I try not to get into that a whole lot, but at the same time, it is something to be aware of. But again, sometimes you can just bridge the gap a little bit by making it so packed full of content that people just go, wow, it's worth it, and obviously changing prices, which would go back to the experiment thing. But yeah, that's one of the neat things about digital products. You can just keep adding to them and really make them kind of a great deal, or a deal that's hard to pass up. All right, number 5, you don't have to invent everything. Take a good idea and put your creative spin on it. This also helps to avoid procrastination. I know in the beginning I was really caught up with this, like, trying to invent the next big thing. Now, I'm not saying don't try to invent the next big thing, because you don't want to take that off the table. But at the same time, there's a lot of times there's a reason good ideas are already working out there, and you don't have to be the one to be first at the concept. You can take that same concept. I mean, like this, I'm doing how to draw. There's obviously plenty of how to draw books and all this stuff, but I can create my own version by introducing my own style, my own take on it, more of a how I would go about it type thing, and then go from there. It doesn't have to be, uh, you know, the very first version of a thing to succeed. I mean, oftentimes you see that a lot of the ideas that do make it are ones that are already supplying something that's out there, but doing it in a unique way. And again, as artists, we can implement our own creativity to almost anything. So it helps with avoiding procrastination because now you're like, oh, wow, there's all sorts of things I could use my art for. And it really opens up your mind to the possibilities and, again, keeps you productive. All right, so for number 6, get feedback along the way and share the journey while creating. The reason I wanted to put this one in here is that this basically helps you to, again, stay productive, which is a big part of any of this, but then also to sort of market the ideas that you're implementing and producing, while going. So a lot of times what's hard is like, how do you get this stuff out to people? How do you build a little bit of awareness to the product that you're making, so it's ready to sell, so that when you put it out there, it does sell. And I think this really helps with that because, for one, if you're getting feedback, you know a little bit more about what people want. So that's a big part. And then also by sharing the journey of it, you're creating that awareness for the product. You're basically marketing it without having to say, hey, here's this thing I made. Do you want to buy it? A lot of times I've noticed in art and with other artists that I've dealt with, it's kind of hard for us to figure out how to be salespeople. I have a little bit of sales background, so it's helped me along the way, but at the same time, I don't particularly like the selling part. I'd rather just share the content and it just took off if it was needed, but that can also be another way to kind of get defeated in the process because you're just not taking steps to properly market it. And without that, it might not get the legs under it to succeed that it could possibly get. So sharing it along the way through social media and giving away some free stuff or, clips of the work and answering questions and all that. And again, getting that feedback, it's kind of essential to giving it that opportunity to succeed. Sort of like I'm doing here right now, basically. So number 7, don't expect immediate success, but go for strength in numbers. This is a really important one because if you put all this work into one product and you put it out there and nothing happens, sort of get crickets, you might just, again, think that you're no good at it and that it's not going to work. And, you give up before you ever gave it a chance to really get going and succeed. What I rather think of is strength in numbers with, if I make, a good amount of products, then the ones that do succeed will give me an idea for what to do next. And then also, if I have more products out there that have the potential to earn, they kind of form together like many streams form a river kind of thing. And basically you have, a few sources of revenue coming in from them, which can help. Again, it's kind of a rarity, even in my case, where any one item just took off like wildfire, but rather that a bunch of them together gave me a better sense and idea for what I was good at and what I could make more of. And again, kind of trusting that process that, if you do enough of it, you're going to get better at it. You're going to learn what works, what doesn't, and hopefully recreate some of your successes. So that's really it. I mean, I just figured with this one, I could show you a little bit of what I'm working on and how I go about it. You can ask any questions that you have and I'll try to answer those. And, feel free to even comment in the section below and let others know, myself included, what's worked for you and what you want to see more of and all that good stuff. It's all good food for thought. So good luck with your digital products, and I hope this video has been informative. And let me know if you're interested in the book, and I'll keep you posted. You can go to my website and join my newsletter, and I'll be able to keep everybody informed as this is released. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching. Good luck with your art, and bye for now.